Broadcasting from USA Swimming's headquarters at the Carolyn Dirks Building in Colorado Springs, Colorado, it's time for Kickset. Join three-time Olympian Elizabeth Beisel and U.S. National Team Director of Performance Matt Barbini as they host members from the USA Swimming community, ranging from age group to Olympic levels of the sport.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Kickset podcast. My name is Matt Barbini. I'm the Director of Performance for the USA Swimming National Team. And joining me, as always, three-time Olympian and now Hall of Famer, Elizabeth Beisel.
Oh, Barbini, you shouldn't have.
Oh, but I did. So for those that don't know, Beisel was inducted into the University of Florida Hall of Fame recently. Tell us about that.
Am I allowed to say go Gators here? Like, I'm obviously showing my bias, but it's fine.
We did a podcast with Bobby where you guys instructed us on how to do the chop. So yeah, I think we're, or the chomp or whatever it is. So yeah, I think we're fine for you to say whatever you want.
Okay, fair. This is fair. It was awesome. I mean, it's also such a reminder where I don't know how other universities work, but University of Florida has a rule where you have to be 10 years out of your graduation to get inducted into your Hall of Fame. So it was a reminder, a friendly, nice reminder of being like, oh, I'm 10 years out of my NCAA swimming career. I'm like officially old now. But it was so awesome. I'm sure like our guest today will be in his Hall of Fame at some point. But the entire weekend was so cool. It's like reliving your college experience and being on the field, and a lot of old teammates came back. So it was just a very wholesome, nostalgic, exciting weekend.
Nice.
But you,
do you get like a plaque or something? Sorry to interrupt you.
I got a fat ring that I will never wear because it's way too big. It's like the size of my entire hand. So I wore it at the game.
Too much bling. Yeah.
Way too much bling. I wore it at the game and I was like, this is my one and only time that it will ever see the light of day. Otherwise, I'll like find a spot for it somewhere in my house. But okay, speaking of college swimming, I feel like you've been all over the place, including that ASU Cal dual meet. How was that? What do you think about all the fast short course swimming, including short course meters? Because I feel like the world is crazy fast right now.
Yeah, everything is super fast. Yeah, I went down. It was actually a tri meet with ASU Cal and Stanford. So it was pretty loaded up. I had not been to a college dual meet in a long time. I don't actually work that much within the NCAA system, and my like yards knowledge is about a tenth of what my long course knowledge is. But it's like my yards like framing is around like what yards times were like when I first started this job, like 10 years ago or 12 years ago, or like when I swam, or like when I like work with like a club team, I'll have some framing for it. And then I go to this meet, it's like these times are just, they're like, you know, we would have been at the 75 by the time they're finishing the 100. It's totally ludicrously fast. It is a funny experience to kind of like, you just dual meets, you're just running events like back to back to back to back. And it's just like so much swimming happening in such a short period of time. And everybody is like pretty focused on it, but it is like it's a different environment than the type of meet where I go to, where athletes are more focused on kind of like one or two performances in a day. Now it's like it is like a physical grind for dual mates. And I knew that, but I hadn't seen one in a long time. Really impressive to see all three of those teams go super fast though. Yeah.
And then you look at like some dual meets on the women's side and they're just like ripping American records, like left and right, like event back to back to back to back. And you're like, wow, what was I doing when I was swimming?
Right. Well, you guys were training more so than anything else. Yeah,
we were training at Florida.
Yeah.
But our guest has been ripping some fast swimming at dual meets, and I'll let you embarrass them.
Of course,
you do your thing.
So our guest today is Luke Hobson, senior University of Texas, Paris Olympian, of course, two-time Olympic medalist, six-time World Championship medalist, three-time national teamer, and a Golden Goggles nominee for Race of the Year from his 200 freestyle bronze in Paris. Luke, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be on. This should be a good time.
I hope so. All right, so
same.
So I want to dive right into what's happening at Texas. I think, you guys with Bob coming in and the different environment, you guys have kind of been in a lot of ways the talk of the college swimming world. I think there's a lot of curiosity around what's happening down there and the training group and everything coming under kind of one umbrella and just all the talent you have in the pool. So can you just give us like a little description of what it's like training there right now?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is honestly it's pretty insane. And like I like the transition from Eddie, who's one of the greatest coaches of all time, to Bob, who's another one of the greatest coaches of all time, has been so seamless and smooth. It's honestly pretty crazy. And I think a lot of that just has to deal with the amount of talent we have in the pool. And we have some really good leadership, and basically the whole team is so focused on the same goal this year. And I mean, the team culture this year has been amazing, and everyone's been putting in so much work. It's really special to see. And I think a lot of that stems from Bob and just the way he runs practices. And it is intense on deck, but it's still fun and light, and it kinda takes the beauty that we had with Eddie, where we'd be racing each other every single day, and where Eddie wasn't super intense, and then Bob's more intense, and that combined with the culture we had before has kinda created this amazing training environment where everyone is just trying to get better every day, so it's been super special.
It's so nice to hear you say that the transition has been seamless. How much has Eddie kind of been not holding Bob's hand, but maybe helping out if he is? And if he's not, did he like kind of have some parting words for you all maybe early on in the season?
Yeah, so honestly, Eddie has been around a little bit here and there. He'll swing by a practice every now and then, but he's really kind of like taking a step back, and he'll come swing by practice and watch, crack his jokes on deck all day. And you can tell he just loves doing that. But really it was kind of Eddie stepped out, Bob came in, started doing things Bob's way, and honestly it's gone great. So yeah.
So you've had a good amount of it's been a busy few months for you, obviously. So everyone always talks about sort of some of the letdown or the transition back into sort of regular life after the Olympics. Then you layered on top of that a coaching change and heading into your senior season. How has that a transition and adjustment been from this amazing Olympic experience back into training day by day at Texas?
Yeah, so honestly, I thought it was gonna be like a little bit more of an adjustment because everyone always talks about how big of a change it was, and for me, the Olympics obviously super high point for me in my career, my whole life, and just amazing experience overall. But I feel like I'm pretty good at kind of having an experience like that and then enjoying it. And afterwards, I took 4 weeks out of the water and vacationed a little, just relaxed, did nothing those 4 weeks, and kind of like reminisced on it, looked back a little bit. But then towards the end of that, I was getting a little antsy, and especially with the new coach coming in, I was like, "Man, I'm kind of ready to get back to work. Like, I got business to finish and more to do." So, I think having Bob coming in made that transition a little more seamless for me, just because like swimming can get kind of monotonous, and if I went into a whole nother year training with Eddie where he never really repeats, but it's kind of similar style of sets and stuff. Having Bob come in brings in kind of a whole new light for me. And it honestly made it more exciting, and I think even easier to get back into it because I haven't had and I've like wanted to train every day, which is pretty cool. And I don't think a ton of people can say that coming off an Olympics.
Yeah, it's like I feel like it's either or, right? Like you come off at an Olympics and you're like, "Oh, I'm so glad that's done. I don't want to touch water for like months." Or it's kind of like you
Mhm.
where you have your little break and then you get the itch again. And it seems like you said, that transition with Bob really helped that. And you mentioned earlier your team, you guys have one goal. I don't want to assume what that is. So what are you guys looking forward towards in this NCAA season? And then for you individually, what would you like to see performance wise from yourself in March?
Yeah, totally. So obvious, I mean, the kind of obvious goal as a team is to win the national championship, which would be super cool and something that I haven't done yet at Texas. So that then turns into an individual goal of mine, which when I committed to Texas, I wasn't anywhere near as good as I am now. And I never thought I'd be winning individual titles or making Olympic teams, winning medals at the Olympics. So my main goal coming in was to win a team title. And that's something that I haven't achieved yet. And it's something that I want so bad. So that's really the overarching personal goal for me is the same as our team goal. But then obviously, I mean, I want to swim faster than I did last year and try and throw down some really good relay splits for the guys and get our relays into better scoring positions than we were last year, which we should be able to because of all the new talent we have. And then obviously, individually, maybe a few American records here and there. I feel like that's kind of the standard that people are setting already this season. I'll look at my phone and American record at this dual meet here, there, they're like everywhere. So I would kind of want to get to that level throughout this season and break my own, and then hopefully in the 500 get Kieran's record. So we'll see how it goes.
Just a couple American records, which is like the way you say that is funny, but it's also so true to what's happening in swimming right now that
Mhm.
it is almost becoming like, well, there's an American record, or there's a US Open record, or a pool record, or a NCAA
Mhm.
record, or even world records at the World Cups. It's just like the nothing has slowed down at all yet.
Yeah.
I do want
Not at
to.
all.
So NCAA is a high pressure meet, as you have been through before, and especially when you're trying to win a team title. But you went through maybe the highest pressure meet this summer with trials. So how does that experience and it being able to get it done at trials, does that give you confidence going into this season that in those high pressure moments you kind of know what to do and how to handle it?
Yeah, yeah, totally. I mean, Olympic trials is obviously only every 4 years, so and making the Olympics has been a huge goal, and that honestly puts a ton of pressure on it, I think. But like at the meet, I feel like I did a really good job managing that pressure, and I mean, you could see in my results, like leading into it, I was the most nervous for the prelim race just because I didn't know how I was gonna swim, and then after that, each race I got more and more confident. So by the final, I was like, I'm making the team right now. This is what I'm here to do. So I think kind of I can take that and the experience of racing in a stadium that big, which was amazing and I loved, and kind of take all that pressure and just kind of outside noise and transfer it to the NC2A season where again, it's a big meet. There's a lot of pressure from teammates, coaches, the school just to win this title. And I can kind of try and channel that into my swims and just use that to swim the fastest that I can.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely somebody that rises to the occasion when it comes to pressure. So you make the Olympic team in a football stadium, then we go to Paris. Your tuna free final, the top three finishes were all separated by, was it 7/100ths of a second? Like something
Hmm.
absolutely crazy. Luke, what lane were you in? You were like outside, like, right?
I think I was in lane 6.
I don't know why I have
So
like this vivid memory of you kind of like, regardless,
yeah.
when you're stepping up on the blocks for that final and you have the goal of obviously getting on the podium, like, what was going through your head during that swim? Were you nervous? Like, with you being able to handle the pressure, were you even nervous, or did you just kinda get that out of the way in prelims?
Yeah, honestly, it was kind of similar with trials. I was nervous for prelims, but it was more like of an excitement than trials was. And I was kinda just like, "Yeah, I'm ready to go, let me see what I can do, this is the biggest stage in swimming, and I kinda wanna just go out there and do the best I can," but definitely, like, in the ready room and walking out for that 200 free final, I was like, "Wow, like, this is it, like, this is the real deal," and I really I kinda had that thought, and then, like, I looked to the pool, and I kinda just locked in after that, and everything honestly kinda went blank till the end of the race, like, I knew where I was at, and I could tell that it was really close, but I remember with, like, probably 20 meters to go, kinda just, like, I have no idea what's going on right now, I'm gonna just give it everything I have and try and get in that wall and finish, and it was pretty crazy, and I remember touching and looking up at the scoreboard, and I had no idea where I was gonna be. I could have won it. I could have been eighth. I didn't know. And I remember turning back and looking up and seeing third. I'm like, all right, that's good. And then I looked at Popovici, the winning time, and I was like, that looks like almost exactly what I went. And then I saw second. It was so tight. And in that moment, I was like, man, like that's so close. Like a little bit of frustration, but as I've come away from it, I'm so happy with it. So.
That's just what I was going to ask. Is that was there look when you looked up and saw how close it was? Where you, it, I imagine it's hard to not go. Oh man, I could have
Yeah, I
Right?
been.
Like
know.
you're
I
just
could have had a
right
one next
there.
to my name instead of the three.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, that it definitely stung a little bit, and it was. I mean, I'm still super happy to be a Olympic medalist, and I feel like honestly, it being that close adds more fuel to the fire, and I'll kind of think of that like 7/100ths. If like I'm dying in a set, I'll be like 7/100ths. That's all it takes. So it's so close, and it's honestly been great motivation for me this year.
Uh, you guys at Texas are kind of a 4x2 factory. Every
Mhm.
every 4 years, it seems like we're rolling out a decent amount of Longhorns on that relay, and this was no exception. So with you and Carson and Drew on the final, um, what do you think? What do you think drives that? Like, how do you guys are you guys so consistent at being such a force in that event?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is kind of what I touched on earlier, and it's just our team culture and like our practices every day. I think what we have here is so special, and where like Carson's one of the most competitive people I know. I'm super competitive. Basically, everyone in our group doesn't want to lose, and we'll work ourselves so hard trying to beat each other literally every single day. And I feel like that is kind of what makes us excel in the end of season. And it's just the group that we have together and we go through these practices and push each other to the max every single day. I feel like that's what really propels us and pushes us onto those relays. So yeah.
Luke, you were elected captain with three other of your teammates, which is something that Eddie never did.
Mhm.
So this is kind of new to the men's Longhorn team. Can you talk about what type of leader you are in practice? Like you're obviously a leader with just your performances in the pool.
Mhm.
But what are you kind of like behind the scenes at practice on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, so honestly, my theory on it is kind of just leading by example. So like I feel like I have a pretty good sense at doing what's right and like just for example like showing up on time going to work out being early doing things that the coaches ask of us and then when we're in the pool we're focused going as hard as we can and I feel like a lot of the guys can see that even the new like freshmen coming in I've kind of heard like man like these guys work hard you can tell every day that when they're on the wall, they're out of breath almost every single time. So, and then that kind of encourages them to be like that. So, I feel like a lot of it for me is lead by example, but we're all kind of chirping at each other through practice, trying to get each other motivated, get us to go on this last one or whatever. So, it's really like healthy motivation between us, but yeah, it's super fun.
I
So
love the term
you're
chirping.
yeah, I
Sorry,
did
Barbie.
too.
Yeah.
No, that's
Like
great. I
I
like.
just picturing everybody like
Well, it's like you
Yeah,
have like
no,
just a few
that's exactly
seconds on
how
the
it is.
wall and just like, hey, flat.
I
Yeah.
don't know why that made Luke, that was great.
Yeah, it'll be like you have 5 seconds rest on the wall, and someone will yell something at you, and then it does motivate you to go
Yeah.
faster on the next one. So
Isn't it crazy though how like you can literally have only 5 seconds on the wall and somebody has the energy to just like spit something out?
yeah,
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 Oh,
yeah.
yeah, I don't
I'm
get
like,
it.
I'm gonna u- I'm gonna use these 5 seconds to tell this guy he's not working hard enough.
right,
That's what
right.
I like. Yeah. Did you
Sorry,
respond well to
Barbini, you
chirping?
go.
No, no. I was gonna ask you. Did you respond well to chirping when you were training, Basil?
I don't think I was a chirper. I I mean, I definitely would have some words to say, like, especially, I mean, Florida was a combined program. So I'd be
Mhm,
with the guys a lot. And I felt for sure more comfortable kind of like chirping at the guys more than I did with the
mhm,
girls. And that's just me personally. Um, but I'd love a good guys practice where I was kind of just like listening to everybody like getting after it behind the scenes. Like it's like I was there, but not really.
Nice.
Yeah.
Um, so Luke, well, there's a bunch coming up. And we'll come back to Golden Goggles in a couple minutes, but I do want to ask about short course worlds. This is going to be the post Olympic short course worlds is always a pretty fun one. It's usually incredibly competitive. And this time looks like it's going to be just out of this world fast based on what people have been doing through the World Cup series and then also domestically in yards. So what are you looking forward to with this upcoming team?
Yeah, honestly, for me, just racing. I mean, we've put together a really good men's team, I think, for the USA. So kind of just getting up, racing with all those guys and racing for our country. That's always super special with all those international meets. And honestly, the whole reason I train is to race just because I love it. It's my favorite part of swimming. And I always hear like, oh, this meet's gonna be the fastest ever. And that gets me even more excited for it because like the Olympics, I mean, the 200 free was a crazy race and one of my favorites ever. So it's just kind of trying to like chase that feeling of the super close races. That's what I live for. And it's my favorite part.
Luke, how many times have you swam short course meters? Are you experienced in it?
Once.
You've only
Yeah,
done it
once.
once?
Well, I've raced it once. My club team back home in Reno, we had a short course meters pool that we would train outdoors but I only did that for like 3 or 4 years before it got torn down. So I trained a little bit when I was way younger and raced it once in the last like 4 years. So be a
I'm
little
thinking
new.
like your best tuner free time is like 157 from when you were
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're about to go to short course worlds and pop like a one. I don't know what do guys go short like. Do you know what the short course meter world record is? Two free. It's got to be
Is it
130.
39.8, I
Yeah,
think?
I think it's just under 40, I think.
Yeah.
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 Luke, I think you can do that.
I know. I do too.
I think you need to.
I
Listen,
know.
that's the best thing about short course worlds, especially if you're somebody that's never done it. No
Yeah.
matter what you do, it's the best time.
Yeah, totally. Well,
Oh,
and I honestly don't even know what's good. I could go and swim awful and be like, oh, I think that's good. Or I could go
yeah,
and swim great and I'll be like, seems fast.
sure.
That is what it makes is part of what makes it so awesome is the people that only swim long course or yards. It's like you don't really have a grounding in time for that. So
Mm-mm.
you
Right.
like, and so best time aside, like it really is one of the best places to just go and race because really
Mm-hmm.
like the result is sort of the race. Like you're gonna look at the board and be like, I don't know what that means.
Okay.
it's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just the number next to your name.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Luke, what
totally.
is your lineup there? What are you going to swim?
I think just 200 free and 800 freestyle relay. So
Okay.
yeah, be
Yeah.
short and sweet, but I like that.
We do have a lot of there are a lot of relays in that event. So there is always
Well, yeah, that's true.
yeah,
Yeah.
because they actually took a few away. There used to be 12 relays, now there are 9, but 9 is still
Oh my
a lot.
gosh.
Yeah,
I had no idea. That's a ton.
yeah.
Maybe a few other relays then too.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wouldn't plan on just swimming that. As
Yeah,
somebody who's
yeah,
been
no.
sketching out the lineups here, everybody's gonna be swimming a
Right.
lot.
Warning
Yeah.
from Matt
No,
Barbini.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like that.
You
I'm
Yeah,
will
good
be
yeah.
with
swimming more.
it.
We don't guarantee anything,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, I cannot wait to see how fast you go, Luke. That's so exciting.
yeah, I can't wait. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Good.
Okay, so we talked about before, you're nominated for Race of the Year. So this kind of goes back to something that you had talked about before, and just sort of your where you felt like you were coming out of high school compared to where you are now. Like, what's your reaction to not only making the Olympic team and winning a medal, but now you're nominated for Race of the Year, so the best male race done by any American for 2024.
I know it's crazy. I mean, honestly, who would have thought that for me? Just I don't know, some kid who liked swimming and was good, could come swim in college. But really, I would credit a lot of my success to Eddie and just all the wisdom he's given me and the training from him. And it's kind of just like taking everything one step at a time and like it's honestly been kind of just like exponential growth, I feel like. And I mean, obviously can't complain about it, and I'm super happy to be here. And it's like, I mean, honestly, it is a little bit hard to believe, and I have to pinch myself sometimes. Like, I saw the Golden Goggles nominations came out, and I was like, male race of the year, that's my name. Like, is that right? Is it? But then I was like, yeah, I guess so. Like, that was a really good race. It's pretty cool to see because I mean, growing up in swimming, I always look at that and be like, man, that'd be really cool to be there one day, be at the Olympics, be winning medals. So it's just it's gratifying seeing my name on that list.
And I love that you say that too, because I feel like everybody goes through that in their swimming career. You know, they look to people like you or whoever, and they're like, oh, I would love to be them one day. And then one day you are them, and it's like, it hits you like a ton of bricks all at once. And
Yeah,
like
yeah.
for you, obviously Golden Goggles are in Indianapolis, which are where you made your first Olympic team. Like, is there any excitement just to return to the city where kind of like the trajectory of your swimming career, your life changed in a way? Like, what's that going to be like?
Yeah, well, honestly, it's kind of a bummer because our invite meet is the same Saturday as Golden Goggles.
Oh,
So
so
I
are you
actually
not
can't,
going?
yeah, I can't make it, unfortunately.
Oh,
It's kind of a
no, never
bummer.
mind.
Yeah,
Ooh.
but that would have been really cool.
So
Oh
hypothetically,
man. Yeah,
Yeah,
hypothetically
it
would
would have been
count.
oh
really neat,
no.
but
Where is your
Uh,
invite meet?
it's here in Austin, so
Okay, at
yeah.
least it's like
Yeah,
home and
we don't
that's
have to travel.
special.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, kind
Oh,
of a bummer there though, but
oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
yeah,
It is that
yeah,
is always a conflict. It's hard to schedule these things on
I
weekends and
yeah, no,
around
I'm
these
sure.
invites. And yeah, it's yeah. Well, sorry about that, man. That's
Never
Yeah,
mind.
no,
that's
You'll have
it.
to go back another
Yeah,
time.
yeah. We'll have to-
yeah,
yeah,
it's all good.
yeah.
Next year, once I'm done with school.
Yeah,
There you
there
go.
you go. There you go.
So we've got another thing going on in November. It's Thank You Coach Month, and it's just an opportunity for everybody to kind of thank their coach. So uh you mentioned Eddie a little bit already, but I'm sure that Eddie and others have had just a huge impact. So as kind of the kickoff to Thank You Coach Month, at least in a public sense, for us here, is there anything you would want to say thank you wise to some of your coaches that have helped you along the way?
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, so much, and none of this is even possible without all my coaches from starting off on my club team to Eddie in college to now Bob. I mean, they've all been so helpful along the way and have gotten me to this level. So, I mean, honestly, it's hard to just thank you to all of them. It's they've helped out so much and been so instrumental in the process. And I can name from club coaches Sharon Weiss and Ned Rodick, both basically taught me how to swim and got me to the level where I could swim Division 1 in college. And then through Eddie, the last 3 years, 3.5 years, got me from kid who could swim in college to NC2A champion, then put me on an Olympic team, won medals. And now, thanks to Bob, just trying something new, trying to get even better with his training. And just thank you to all of them.
It's so cool to hear.
Yeah.
Um, this is like maybe going backwards a little bit, but I am curious. You talk about, okay, you get recruited, you can swim D1. What has been your time drop? Let's say in the 500 from like when you were recruited in high school until present day.
To that
So
407 behind you there on
Yeah,
the
right.
yeah,
yeah,
And maybe you
yeah.
could
world
talk about
record.
those
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I know Texas does that, and this is on YouTube too, so some people can like see this if they're watching.
Uh-huh.
Maybe talk about your time drop and then like those little signs behind you.
Okay, so my 500 free, when I first started getting recruited, I'm pretty sure I was a 421. And then by the end of high school, I was 416. And then freshman year of high school, dropped 7 seconds to 409.
You dropped
Actually, no,
seven
eight
seconds
seconds to
freshman year.
408. Yeah, 408 at NC2As.
Oh,
And then
It's a
last
fun
year went
start.
406. So what is like over 10 seconds total in a 500? And since the
oh my
beginning of recruiting, 16 seconds. So it's been pretty crazy.
At
Okay,
Eddie
wait,
Reese guy knows
now
what
I
he's
need to
doing.
ask. Wait, what about two free?
Two
Yeah.
free. I came into college with a 33.6 and went 28.8 last year. So that's 5 seconds. That's honestly even crazier.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's like back to the thank you coaches thing. Like that's what an incredible coach can do. They can set you up
Mhm.
to swim in D1 and then they can take you even further. So it's just
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's so cool. Oh, wait. Okay.
Totally.
And then
Yeah.
the record signs
Yeah,
behind
so
you.
these boards, the top one is 200 free short course. That was Townley's record I broke last year, so I got his board. And then the one below, 407, is 500 that I broke my sophomore year, and then broke it again junior year, so I got my own board. And then the bottom is 200-meter free, David Walters and Ricky Barons. That's a cool board because it was a tie, the old record,
Yeah.
and I'm super happy to have that one. So it's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
That's a cool tradition that you take the board of the record that you
Yeah,
broke.
yeah, totally.
Yeah, I like
Yep.
that. All right, Basel, should we do some social kick?
Let's do it.
All right, so we have a couple of listener generated questions. These all came in through our social channels. So the first one is from Jessica B. Do you have a pre-race hype song?
Honestly, I don't. I try and keep it pretty chill. And like at the Olympics, I was listening to a lot of Zach Bryan before I'd race just because chill, relax.
Wow.
So I enjoy that.
That is mellow.
Yeah, super mellow.
Yeah. I guess the atmosphere provides enough of the energy, especially in that
Yeah,
building.
yep,
Yeah.
totally.
Okay, this is next one is from Riley M. Do you have a favorite cheat meal? So I guess like a bad for you food.
Honestly, I don't think it's that bad for you, but I love pizza. That's my go-to. If I can't decide what to eat, it's always gonna be pizza. There's a bunch of good places in Austin too that I enjoy going.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. It came through a generic username, I guess. So I don't know what that means, but favorite set to train to improve your 200 free. Tough one.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Specific for 200, I would say some type of pace 50s. We did with Bob a couple weeks back the Hackett set, which is
Ooh.
I think is it 30? No, 40 50s, and it's like 4 fast with no
Yeah.
easy between, and then 8, 1 fast, 1 easy, 12, 1 fast, 2 easy, 16, 1 fast, 3 easy, and I feel like that's very helpful for a 200. It's really hard though.
Yeah, that set is notoriously painful.
Yeah, yep, yeah.
Yeah.
I was hurting pretty bad.
So going back to your pizza answer, when I lived in Austin, Home Slice was definitely my go-to pizza spot. Is that on
Yep, yeah.
your list of favorites?
Yeah, it is. I love Home Slice. Home Slice and Pint House are my 2 spots.
Yep. Yeah, I do miss
Wait,
Home Slice.
when did you live in Austin, Barbini?
Me? I went to grad
Yeah.
school in Texas. Yeah, I was
See?
there from
Oh, yeah.
08 to 12 before I moved up
Wow.
here. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I worked
neither.
in the athletic department a little bit at Texas. We
Oh,
did I
awesome.
actually like was part of the I worked in events, so we put on the Texas Invite, the old version of it that you guys used to have. It was early December. And it would be like Texas, USC, Arizona, when Frank Bush was there. Yeah, we did a lot of swimming when I was
Wow.
yeah, it was
Awesome.
cool. And then
So
we did
cool.
event management stuff for women's soccer and volleyball, and yeah, it was fun.
That's
Awesome.
Cool. Well, thanks, Luke, for coming on. Awesome to get to talk to you. And I personally will see you in just a couple weeks in Budapest.
Yeah, looking forward to it, and thanks for having me. That was a good time.
I'm glad it was a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it worked out.
Raving reviews from Luke.
Yeah, see, we're not terrible, Basil. Well,
Oh,
maybe.
and good luck at Invite. We will miss you in Indy for Golden Goggles.
Yeah,
But
I know, bummer, but
yeah.
we'll be swimming here, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna be going insanely fast. I already know it, so that'll be
Yeah.
worth it.
Yeah.
Yay.
That's the goal, so.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thanks, Luke.
Thanks again to Luke Hobson for coming on. Basil, always fun to talk to somebody that is kind of in the middle of the peak of their career. It's like you could just feel how he is just like still learning how good he actually is.
Yeah. Like still so hungry.
Yep.
Like nothing is getting in his way. I
Yeah.
love when I hear somebody that is so confident, like when he was talking about his personal goals and was like, yep, I want Kieran's 5 free. I want to win a team title, like da da
Mhm.
da da da. And like, I don't know if it was for you, Barbini, but for at least me, like sometimes it was like really hard to say that even to myself,
Oh
let alone
yeah.
out loud. Like, were you the same with
I
goals?
I think a lot. I mean, I think I still am. It's like if people were to
Yeah.
ask, like, where do you want to be in like 4 years or something, I'd still be like, "Ugh, I don't know if I'm gonna say that out loud. And I just love the confidence, like you said, of being like, I want a couple American records, not
Yeah.
an American record. I want
Oh,
a
yeah.
couple on top of a team title. Like, damn.
And here's the thing, he'll do it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, he's definitely got a
he will
shot.
do it.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, he just has this like beautiful, like quiet confidence about
Mhm.
him. Like it's something that like I want to take from him and be like,
Yeah.
I need to channel Luke Hobson more.
Yeah, having gone through this entire 6-week process with him, I mean, he's an unflappable the entire way too. I mean, we through training camp all the way up until that performance, and I think even he would admit he probably wasn't a favorite going into that final, and to
Yeah.
be so close to winning and to come away with a medal is, I mean, is an awesome performance. But it's a hard. I mean, we saw a lot of people in that meet from every country not really swim that well. The pressure does get to people and it happens every time. And he just sort of unflappably moved his way through it, and it turned out great.
And like, what does that mean for LA 2028?
Yeah.
Like, is he a good trainer? Like at training
Yeah.
camp,
Yeah.
does he
He's
throw
really
down?
good. Yeah. He's one of those guys. I mean, you know, Eddie. Eddie loves to read off sort of people's like training resume. Be like, we
Yeah.
gave um he's the one that he would do all the time was Clark Smith. It's like we gave Clark Smith 10 200s and he was 127 on all of them. I'm like, I don't know, Eddie. I'm not sure if that's true, but
Huh.
but Luke was one of those guys that when he came in, because he's right, he wasn't the most highly touted recruit coming out, and he was one of the guys that Eddie would talk about when we would ask, "Hey, how's the team doing?" Say, "Oh, this kid Luke Hobson, he's really going to be something," and as he normally is, Eddie was right.
Right. And here we are.
Yeah.
Luke Hobson is something
Yeah,
and
yeah,
is still like
for
kind
sure.
of becoming something even
Yeah, yeah.
more.
Yep.
So it's
Yep.
just, yeah, I'm sad that he's not going to be a Golden Goggles, but again,
I
I do
know.
think I feel so bad, but I
Yeah,
do
yeah.
think he's going to absolutely rip at his invite. And then the idea of him being at short course worlds with
Yeah.
no short course meter swimming experience is
Yeah.
beyond exciting to me.
Yeah,
So that'll be
it's
great.
so fun when those people come in and they're sort of like they finish the race and then they're looking up like historical times to be like, I don't know, was that good? Where
I'm
am
like,
I?
I mean, it
Yeah.
felt fine. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
World record, I guess.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately for Luke, he won't be able to be at Golden Goggles, but everybody listening to this can be. Seats
Yes, you
are
can.
still available, and the auction is live. Details for both of those things can be found at usaswimming.org/foundation. As we mentioned during the show, that will be in Indianapolis, back in the home of trials. So super exciting to return to what was the site of my favorite swim meet ever so far, one more time. And that event is coming up really soon, November 23rd. And then
And
after that, we
we got
right
another swim
off the
meet.
back of that, yeah, we have a swim meet, domestic one, the Toyota US Open in Greensboro from December 4th to the 7th. That will be short course yards. So speaking of the American records and US Open records, I think you could expect to see some really fast stuff there because normally that meet is long course. So this is one of the few opportunities for some of our pros to take a rip at some short course yards. So that should be pretty cool. And if you're
And to
looking for
kind of
tickets,
oh,
no, go ahead.
ah! And also, well, to kind of piggyback on that point, it's like their opportunity, the pros' opportunity to kind of respond to what all the college
Yep.
swimmers are doing, which
Yep.
is really cool.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
meet's gonna be really fun. But
Yeah. I
anyways,
was thinking about Luke sort of saying he's going after Kieran's record, and it's like, oh, I wonder if Kieran would try to. No, Kieran's on the short course worlds team, but
Yeah,
that
fair, true.
is still. It'll be cool to see some of those people that don't generally swim yards
Yeah.
go after some really fast stuff there. Tickets for that can be found at usaswimming.org/events. And then the last thing we've got, we mentioned it with Luke. This is Thank Your Coach Month, or Thank You Coach Month. So make sure that you thank your coach this month. Everybody listening, and from us here, thank you to all the coaches that help athletes and teams and us. We certainly would not be in a position to do the things that we do without all of our coaches. So sincere, heartfelt thank you from all of us here at USA Swimming.
Couldn't have said it better myself,
All
Barbie.
right. Well, you probably could have, but you didn't.
No. But I stole your thunder, so
yeah, but I said it first.
I'll just say thank you, coaches.
There
Nice
we
and
go.
simple.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you, coaches, for listening. Thanks again to Luke Hobson. Beisel, I will see you next week in Indianapolis in the flesh.
Cannot wait.
And please rate, review, subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening. Check it out on YouTube as well. And we will see you all next month.
Bye, you guys.
Thanks, everybody.